You can see that I've used the same block here for the second half of the mould. I just cut out a V so as the original flanges that I made on the first half of the mould I can use to cramp onto that way, like that. Put a G cramp on there, like so, and another one across there, and that then gave me my parting plane for the top half of the mould. With my access into the where the wing seat goes, I had to make up a new piece of foam the same as I did the first time, so as it fitted down into the first half I'd moulded, and also made the shape ready for the second half. And yeah, much the same as the first half procedure really. Firstly, I like to brush it all over the mould so as it all bonds into that layer where the pill ply's been pulled off. Then I get me cloth and lay it on a sheet of polythene, wet it out with the roller, and then fold the half of the polythene over so as it's trapped between two layers of polythene. Then I can hit it with a wallpaper roller and really use some pressure in there to squash the resin down through. Then I can flip it over. Any dry patches can wet it out a bit more with the roller, squish it out with the wallpaper roller again, and it'll all be nicely wetted through then. The reason I've got to do this stuff is it's a millimetre thick, this 1200 gram cloth, and what it is, it's quadriaxle. So you've got a layer running that way, a layer running that way, and then a layer at 90 degrees that way, 90 degrees that way, and it's all just glass rovings that have been stitched together. So it's very flexible, considering its thickness. It's very flexible. Once wetted out, it really does conform very well to the shape of the plug. I'm quite impressed with it. So that's what we're going to do. Once it's nicely wetted out, you can tell that because it changes colour. It goes from a white colour to a transparent colour. You know it's then nicely wetted out. And it's very nice to handle because it's nice and thick and it's stitched, just stays together nicely. So what you can do is you can flip it around, get it how you want it, and then pull the polythene off, and you're left with a nicely wetted out, really thick piece of cloth. Hopefully it should peel off of here. And we can put it where we want it. And you can see it really does conform very well. I'm very impressed with it. It will soak up that last bit of resin that we used to actually coat the mould with before we put this on. And we'll just tap it out roughly to shape with a brush, get it sticking. Then we'll put some pill ply over it, another brief, put it in the vacuum bag, and that will pull it down nicely onto that mould. You'll end up with a real nice thick mould. The real beauty of this stuff is 1200 grams compared to using a 200 or 250 gram cloth. Obviously a lot easier. It's the same as 5 or 6 layers of normal cloth, and because it's all toes stitched together, there's very little gap between the toes, so there's not much room for the epoxy. It just soaks into the actual toes and very little excess. This uses about half the amount of epoxy that 200 gram open weave cloth would. So not only is it quicker and easier, it's also half the price as well when you consider the epoxy. And the cloth itself is pretty cheap as well. I thought it was a great idea. I'm not sure if other mould makers use this stuff, but I think it's fantastic. I'm tempted to have a go at using it in a fuselage. That'll be one tough cookie. That's it. Put some peel ply on it and stick it in the bag. Get it nicely conforming around that chunk of wood there, and yeah, that's down to shape, looking good. Build my hot box up around it and leave it for a day or so, and I'll be able to pull the peel ply off, take it out of the bag, pull the peel ply off, and then leave the mould to cure for a week or so. Job's a good one.